We are in Book 4, the Book of Birth and Quest. And last week we reached the bottom of page 352. Over 2 weeks we read about the seasons of the year, and we concluded with all the beauties of spring, when all nature was at beauty's festival. So now I'll read on from the top of page 353. In this high signal moment of the gods, answering earth's yearning and her cry for bliss, a greatness from our other countries came. A silence in the noise of earthly things immutably revealed the secret word. A mightier influx filled the oblivious clay. A lamp was lit, a sacred image made. A mediating ray had touched the earth, bridging the gulf between man's mind and God's. Its brightness linked our transience to the unknown. A spirit of its celestial source aware, translating heaven into a human shape, descended into earth's imperfect mold, and wept not, fallen to mortality, but looked on all with large and tranquil eyes. One had returned from the transcendent plains and bore anew the load of mortal breath, who had striven of old with our darkness and our pain. She took again her divine unfinished task. Survivor of death and the aeonic years, once more with her fathomless heart she fronted time. Again there was renewed, again revealed the ancient closeness by earth vision veiled, the secret contact broken off in time, a consanguinity of earth and heaven, between the human portion toiling here and an as yet unborn and limitless force. Again the mystic deep attempt began, the daring wager of the cosmic game. For since upon this blind and whirling globe, earth plasm first quivered with the illumining mind, and life invaded the material sheath, afflicting inconscience with the need to feel. Since in infinity silence woke a word, a mother wisdom works in nature's breast to pour delight on the heart of toil and want, and press perfection on life's stumbling powers. Impose heaven's sentience on the obscure abyss, and make dumb matter conscious of its God. Although our fallen minds forget to climb, although our human stuff resists or breaks, she keeps her will that hopes to divinize clay. Failure cannot repress defeat or thrall. Time cannot weary her, nor the void subdue. The ages have not made her passion less. No victory she admits of death or fate. Always she drives the soul to new attempt. Always her magical infinitude forces to aspire the inert brute elements. As one who has all infinity to waste, she scatters the seed of the eternal strength on a half-animate and crumbling mold, plants heaven's delight in the heart's passionate mire, pours Godhead seekings into a bare beast frame, hides immortality in a mask of death. Once more that will put on an earthly shape.
In this high signal moment of the gods, answering earth's yearning and her cry for bliss, a greatness from our other countries came.
Thank you. So this high signal moment of the gods, this springtime. Last time we read about the symbol significance of the spring, that the voice of spring is a call to the transcendent sphere. It calls down a touch from above upon our mortal lives, and that touch from the transcendence keeps ever new the thrill that made the world. Spring is the time of renewal and new life, freshness, fresh starts. And it's that touch from the eternal that keeps things fresh and new and makes our hearts respond to all the beauty of nature's touch. So this significant, it's a signal, this moment that signifies something, that means something. This is a special moment of the gods, of the cosmic powers in the cycle of the year. in answer to the yearning, the longing of earth, the constant cry of earth for bliss, for Ananda, a greatness from our other countries came. All those other countries that we are normally not aware of, but still we are connected with them. They are our countries also. From there, something great and wonderful came down onto earth in response to this longing, this aspiration, this yearning for a greater happiness. Shamala?
In silence, in the noise of earthly things, immutably revealed the secret word. A mightier influx filled the oblivious clay. A lamp was lit, a sacred image made.
So it's a very, very special moment, the moment of Savitri's birth. And at this moment, there's some kind of silence inhabiting or a silent moment created in all the noise of earthly things, the rumor of the speed of life. And in that moment of silence, there's a revelation of the secret word, the word of creation, the word that says yes to the manifestation. And that word is Savitri. That's what her name signifies, this creative word that gives birth to everything that's born. So that secret word is immutable, it doesn't change, but here it is revealed in this special moment. A mightier influx, something flowed in. Flux is flow, an influx, something flowed in, something more powerful, flowed into the oblivious clay, the clay that is matter, the clay of the body, that is unconscious, that has forgotten, that is unaware of this very significant thing that is happening. But although the clay is oblivious, that lamp is lit, and a sacred image is created. Savitri takes a human birth. Bebel?
A mediating ray had touched the earth, bridging the gulf between man's mind and God's. Its brightness linked our transience to the unknown.
So a ray from the supreme light, a mediating ray. It's a ray that connects. It brings about communication between the higher and the lower. That mediating ray has touched the earth with the coming of Savitri, and it creates a bridge. In her very nature, Savitri is a bridge. She connects a bridge across that gulf, that huge gap between the human mind, the human consciousness, and the divine consciousness. The brightness of that ray linked our transience to the unknown. Our lives, our bodies are transient. They don't last very long. They are just passing, changing and passing. But by entering a human body, Savitri creates a bridge between, it links our transience, our human transience, to the unknown, the supreme. Dhanalakshmi.
A spirit of its celestial source, aware, translating heaven into a human shape, descended into earth's imperfect mold, and wept not fallen to mortality, but looked on all with large and tranquil eyes.
A spirit, he says, a spirit that's aware of its celestial source. There's a spirit which is conscious from the very moment of birth. It has always been conscious. It doesn't lose consciousness. It translates heaven, all the beauty of the higher levels, into a human shape. So that spirit descends into this imperfect mold of earth. We've spoken about this word mold before, that we have a mold. If we're making a candle, we'll take the liquid wax and pour it into a mold. When the wax has cooled down and become solid, we can take the mold away and the candle is there. It's the same with the statue. The people who make the beautiful bronzes in South India, first of all they create a mold and then they pour the metal in. And when the metal has become solid, they chip off the mold. So matter, says Sri Aurobindo in The Life Divine, is a mold for spirit, a mold that's been created for the spirit to be able to individualize itself in form in the world. So this mold is imperfect, it's evolving, it's not yet a perfect mold. Savitri has descended into this imperfect mold. It's a fall. We can say that it's a fall from her high heavenly state to come and be human with us on earth, to become subject to death and ignorance. But he says she didn't weep. Traditionally, babies always cry when they are born. But he says this child didn't weep, looked on everything with large and tranquil eyes. We can see this in some of the photographs of the mother as a small child, this quiet look at everything. Ganga Lakshmi, would you read, please?
One had returned from the transcendent plains and bore anew the load of mortal breath, who had striven of all the without darkness and our pain. She took again her divine unfinished task, survivor of death and hereditary. Once more, with her phantomless heart, she found time.
So one had returned, come back to earth from those planes beyond the transcendent planes. And once again, she's bearing the load of mortal breath, this kind of breathing that we have to do to keep our bodies alive. It's a kind of heavy breathing, and it expresses all this load of matter. There's a subtler breath that she can breathe on her transcendent planes. Now she's coming down into this heavy world of matter. She has to bear this load, this burden. This one. It's not the first time she has come. Of old, in the past, she has striven, she has battled, she's made great efforts, struggling with our darkness and our pain. And now she's taking up again her unfinished task, her divine task. So this is a birth that is repeated. Once more, she fronted time, she faced time and all the difficulties of time with that fathomless heart, that deep, bottomless heart of love and compassion and strength. She's facing time. Renana, would you read? Yeah.
Again there was renewed, again repeat the ancient, closeness by earth, vision, earth. The steppers, trumpets,
Broken, yeah.
broken off in time. A constant
Difficult word for you. Consanguinity.
consanguinity of earth and heaven between the human proportion holding her and an as yet unborn and limited earth.
Yes. So he says again, something is being renewed, something that existed, it's being shown again or activated again, it's being revealed again. The ancient closeness. There's actually always been a contact between the highest levels and the earth, but that contact is veiled. We don't see it with our physical eyes because of the veil of matter. No? So that secret contact between earth and heaven, between the lower levels and the higher levels, the connection seems to have been cut, to have been broken off by entering into time. But now that contact gets renewed, this consanguinity. The root of this word is the sang part, S-A-N-G, which means blood in French. Consanguinity, it means of the same blood. So that close relationship. You have consanguinity with your mother and your father and your children and your brothers and your sisters. You are all of the same blood. So in a similar way, we have this close connection between earth and heaven. Aurobindo says it several times in the poem, that we are close kinsmen, earth and heaven, and the beings of earth and the beings of heaven. They have this close contact. But it's apparently broken off when we come into time, when our earth vision gets veiled. The coming of Savitri renews that contact, reveals that contact, the contact between the human part that is toiling here, doing all the hard work, bearing the load of matter, and the great force, the original force, which is limitless and which has not yet incarnated fully in it's unborn in the sense that it has no beginning, no? But here he says, and as yet unborn. It means it will be born. That force will get a birth here in the world. Yuli?
Again, the mystic deep attempt began. The daring wager of the cosmic game.
Thank you. So she comes to make this attempt. She takes up again her divine unfinished task. No? And this is such a mystical, mysterious, deep attempt that is being made to raise matter up to a divine status. And there's some kind of risk in this attempt. The daring wager. A wager is a bet. You know, we make a bet on horse racing or the outcome of a wrestling match or all kinds of things people bet about when the outcome is uncertain. They say, I wager, I take a risk, I say it will happen like this. So, in a sense, we can say that when this game of involution started, perhaps it was not entirely sure that the evolution would be successful and that there could one day eventually be a divine life in the world of matter. But the Lord said, I will risk it. I will try it. So, and who has to try to make that work? It is the mother. So she's taking up this attempt, to make this daring wager of the cosmic game come true, come out right, have a successful outcome.
It has so many worlds, so many suns and universes. It doesn't matter, really.
Yeah, but you can think, no? If really there's a plunge into complete inconscience, a forgetfulness, an oblivion, what guarantee is there that that involved being is going to be able to wake up again and remember? And for how long that attempt has been going on. So from time to time it needs some help from above. No? And then the great avatars and teachers, the great spirits who are conscious of their source, have to come and help that process, that game on. Patricia.
For since upon this blind and whirling globe, earth plasm first quivered with the illumining mind, and life invaded the material sheath, afflicting in conscience with the need to feel. Since in infinity's silence woke a word, another wisdom works in nature's breast to pour delight on the heart of toil and want, and press perfection on life's stumbling powers. Impose heaven's sentence on the obscure abyss, and make down matter conscious of its God.
So since the very beginning of the universe, that mother wisdom has been present, not always embodied consciously, but always there working Ever since on this blind, whirling material globe, it first began, that earth plasm, that unshaped matter, first quivered, began to move with some kind of illumining word that wakes it up to the possibility of life. We've been reading about this on Sunday, no? Life invaded, it comes in as an invader from it, the life plane, invading the material sheath, waking it up, inflicting inconscience, the inconscience of matter, with that need to feel which life brings. Life is all about relationships, exchanges, stimulus, response. Ever since, in the silence of infinity, a word, a creative word woke up. A mother wisdom has been working in the breast of nature, which seems to be unconscious, which seems to be mechanical. That's how we perceive her. But within, deep within, as the soul of nature, there's the wisdom of the Supreme Mother who knows exactly how everything has to work out. And that mother wisdom is working to pour delight on the heart of toil and want. Earth creatures suffer this load of matter and of dissatisfied life. But within all that, the Mother wants us to feel delight. And she's pressing for perfection, more and more perfection. So life's powers are stumbling, they make mistakes again and again, they fall, but that steady pressure is there for them to become more and more perfect, to express more and more perfectly. She wants to impose heaven's sentience, the kind of feeling and response that is there in our divine bodies. She wants to impose that even on this obscure abyss, this deep gulf of inconscience, and make dumb matter become conscious of the divine presence. So that's the Mother's constant work. Mahalingam.
Although our fallen minds forget to claim, although our human stuff resists or breaks, she keeps her will that hopes to divinize clay. Failure cannot repress, defeat overthrow. Time cannot weary her, nor the voice subdue. The ages have not made her passion less. No victory she admits of death or fate.
So our minds, they don't have that divine strength. They forget to try always to make progress. A lot of the time we forget, no? These imperfect human minds that we have. And the stuff, the very substance of our human nature resists that divine pressure. And if the pressure is too much, it will even break. No? But she still keeps her will that hopes to divinize clay, to make the clay divine, awake to its divine origin and the divine presence in it. So it doesn't matter how many times she fails, that failure can't repress her. She can't keep that will from expressing itself. And however many times she's defeated, that doesn't really defeat her. It doesn't overthrow her will. Time cannot weary her. She doesn't grow tired through time. And the emptiness, the apparent emptiness of material space cannot subdue her, cannot overcome her. All these passage of the ages haven't made the passion, the intensity of her will any less. She doesn't admit, she simply will not accept any apparent victory of death or fate. She will always renew her attempt and the hope to divinize clay. If
Yes. Always she drives the soul to new attempt. Always the magical infinitude forces to aspire the inner great ways. As one who has all infinity to waste, thus scatters the seed of the eternal strength on a half-animate and crumbling mold, plants heaven's delight in the heart's passionate mind, pours Godhead's seekings into a bare beast frame, hides immortality in a mass of death.
yes, thank you. So she is the one who's always driving the soul, our souls, to new attempts, to try again. And always her magical infinitude, this limitless enchantment of hers, forces our hearts, forces the inert, brute elements, all those tamasic parts in us that don't want to change and that don't want to move. She forces them to aspire, to want change. And time doesn't weary her. It's for her as if she has all infinity to waste. There's no hurry. She scatters this seed like a farmer, who scatters his seed. She's scattering the seed of the eternal strength. She would like that to spring up. She scatters it on this earth matter, this half animate, it's half alive, this crumbling mold that disintegrates. Here, this is the other sense of the word mold. The word mold has two senses. One is that one of the form. The other one is earth, soil. And the farmer scatters his seed on the mold, and if the mold is fertile, the seeds will sprout. So she's always scattering those seeds on this earth nature of ours, and some of those seeds may sprout. She implants in our hearts the passionate mire. Mire, this means dirty mud. And this is the passion, the passionate longings and desires and all the mixed feelings that we carry in our hearts. This is that passionate mire. But she implants in that the capacity for a pure delight, heaven's delight. And into bodies like ours, bare animal frames, animal bodies, she pours Godhead seekings, aspirations towards something higher, more perfect, more divine. Human beings feel those things. In truth, All of us have an immortal part, but she hides that immortality. She nurtures that immortality, even though it's hidden behind this mask of death, of mortality, of the need to die. Joel.
Once more that we put on an earthly shape, a mind empowered from truth's immutable seat, was framed for vision and interpreting act, and instruments were sovereignly designed to express divinity in terrestrial signs.
So now in Savitri, once more, that will, the mother's will, is taking an earthly form, an earthly body. And that will is shaping for itself the instruments that it needs. A mind which has been empowered from the highest seat of truth. That's where the mother sits. No? This mind gets framed for vision and for actions that will interpret the truth. And other instruments were designed sovereignly with a master hand. A sovereign is a ruler. So if you do something sovereignly, you do it with mastery. They were designed to express divinity in terrestrial signs. Savitri will be a human being. How can that divinity which she's carrying within her get expressed in earthly signs? So there are places where Aurobindo expresses that. Now we will get some of these terrestrial signs described. Pauline, you like to read?
Outlined by the pressure of his new descent, a loftier body formed than earth had known, and yet a prophecy only anticipated. The glowing arc of a charmed unseen whole, it came into the sky of mortal life, bright like the crescent horn of a gold moon, returning in faint illumined eye.
Illumined Eve. Yes, yeah. So this new descent, it outlines by its own pressure the body that Savitri is going to inhabit. This body is lovelier than had ever been known on earth before, more beautiful. And of course, when she's first born, when she's a small baby, that beauty is expressed only as a prophecy, as a hint of something which will be. No? It's, he says, it is like the first moon appearing after we've had the new moon. We haven't seen any moon. The first moon that comes, especially beautiful actually, no? But it's just a faint glowing arc, part of the circle of the full moon. But we don't see the whole, the unseen whole that will be there when the moon grows full. That first hint of the beauty that Savitri is going to be, it came into the sky of mortal life, bright like the crescent horn. Crescent means growing, the moon that is going to grow, of a gold moon, returning in a faint, illumined eve. When we see the first moon, it comes before total darkness. No? There's still some light in the evening sky, and that faint gold crescent is seen. So it's the beauty of Savitri as a baby is like that, some hint of what will come. Perhaps we'll stop there for today. Yes. So let's read these lines. In this high signal moment of the gods, answering earth's yearning and her cry for bliss, a greatness from our other countries came, a silence in the noise of earthly things, immutably revealed the secret word. A mightier influx filled the oblivious clay. A lamp was lit, a sacred image made. A mediating ray had touched the earth, bridging the gulf between man's mind and God's. Its brightness linked our transience to the unknown. A spirit of its celestial source aware, translating heaven into a human shape, descended into earth's imperfect mould, and wept not, fallen to mortality, but looked on all with large and tranquil eyes. One had returned from the transcendent plains, and bore anew the load of mortal breath, who had striven of old with our darkness and our pain. She took again her divine unfinished task. Survivor of death and the aeonic years, once more with her fathomless heart she fronted time. Again there was renewed, again revealed, the ancient closeness by earth vision veiled, the secret contact broken off in time, a consanguinity of earth and heaven, between the human portion toiling here and an as yet unborn and limitless force. Again the mystic deep attempt began, the daring wager of the cosmic game. For since upon this blind and whirling globe earth plasm first quivered with the illumining mind, and life invaded the material sheath, afflicting inconscience with the need to feel. Since in infinity's silence woke a word, a mother wisdom works in nature's breast, to pour delight on the heart of toil and want, and press perfection on life's stumbling powers, impose heaven's sentience on the obscure abyss, and make dumb matter conscious of its God. Although our fallen minds forget to climb, although our human stuff resists or breaks, she keeps her will that hope shapes to divinize clay. Failure cannot repress, defeat or throw. Time cannot weary her, nor the void subdue. The ages have not made her passionless. No victory she admits of death or fate. Always she drives the soul to new attempt. Always her magical infinitude forces to aspire the inert brute elements. As one who has all infinity to waste, she scatters the seed of the eternal strength on a half-animate and crumbling mould. Plants heaven's delight in the heart's passionate mire, pours Godhead's seekings into a bare beast frame, hides immortality in a mask of death. Once more that will put on an earthly shape. A mind empowered from truth's immutable seat was framed for vision and interpreting act, and instruments were sovereignly designed to express divinity in terrestrial signs. Outlined by the pressure of this new descent, a lovelier body formed than earth had known. As yet a prophecy only and a hint, the glowing arc of a charmed unseen whole. It came into the sky of mortal life, bright like the crescent horn of a gold moon, returning in a faint illumined eve.